Orville Peck, you are living proof that it takes 10 years to be an overnight success because you started as a ballet dancer in South Africa, then moved to Canada where you were a drummer in a punk band, then moved to London for college to be an actor until you were 31 and said, you know what I'm going to do? Make a career pivot, put on a mask, and start making country music. Since then, you have worked with people like Elton John, Willie Nelson, Kylie Minogue, Shania Twain, Diplo, Noah Cyrus, were on Broadway earlier this year, and are even in a Street Fighter movie that comes out next year. You are truly a Renaissance man of our generation. And now your latest project, Appolossa, just came out last Friday. So it is an honor and a privilege to say, Orville Peck, welcome to Nikki at Night.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
You are like such an interesting and fascinating artist. And I have so many questions. One about this project, and it's absolutely amazing. But also really like something that I would love to like learn about is like, I think your lore as an artist is so crazy, and I have never heard anyone with a story like this.
Right.
So like I want you to paint me the journey, right?
Okay.
Like you're doing ballet in South Africa.
Yep.
And now you're making country music, right? Like give me the
that's
trajectory.
not a typical pipeline.
That is not the typical pipeline.
No, it's funny. I guess when you lay it out like that, it is fairly strange for sure. No, I mean, like, I think I don't know what you want to call it, was like destined to be performing or whatever. But, you know, from when I was really little, my biggest passion and my biggest like escape and biggest, you know, everything was to be performing and to, you know, so whether that was like dancing, which I took up and loved.
Yeah.
You know, it was like one of my favorite expressions was when I was a dancer. Did that for a long time. And then, like you said, you know, moved to Canada, finished high school in Canada, made some friends while I was in high school that were like into music. And I'd always loved writing like little lyrics and things growing up and whatever. And so, but then funnily enough, like became a drummer with like friends from high school in my first band. And then, yeah, toured for, God, I mean, like probably 15 years as a drummer in punk bands. So just like touring Canada, the US, going to Europe, like doing all of that for a long time.
Yeah.
But very like DIY, very, you know, for the love of it. So I've done the, you know, like driving for 13 hours in a minivan with like my drums on my lap.
Wow.
Life. Sleeping on someone's floor every night.
Right.
Yeah. So did that for a long time, kind of while doing acting as well. You know, like I started in voiceover as a kid, and then transitioned into like loving theater, combining my dancing and my singing into sort of doing musical theater. And then, yeah, it all sort of like, this is the abridged version, obviously.
Yeah.
But, you know, then when my punk band broke up, that was like sort of my main focus for the longest time. I decided I was going to go, I'd done a lot of acting, but I really wanted to focus on like classical theater and get like a really good like acting training, because I also kind of wanted to like stop feeling like I had to do musical theater because I was a singer and a dancer. Mm-hmm. So moved to London, went to a conservatory there, eventually, you know, started doing West End plays and doing classical theater in London for a few years. And, you know, all the while, since I was a little kid, I had all these different interests, but I always loved country music. You know, I loved Johnny Cash, Dolly Parton, Patsy Cline, like that era of very classic country. And I also was always obsessed with cowboys. And so when I was living in London, I got kind of this itch again to make music, especially I think as an actor. The hard part for me was like not being able to be in control of my own creativity, like kind of like not making my own work.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, I'm going to move back to North America. I'm going to start making music again, just on my own. This time I'm going to, you know, step away from the drums and be the singer and the songwriter. And I'm going to do country music. And then not just that, but I'm going to combine all these things and all these sort of like past lives that I've had, I'm going to like combine them all into one creative project. And that's essentially what I've now been doing for, I guess, almost 10 years.
And that's Orville Peck.
And that's Orville Peck, honey.
That's crazy. But that's so cool.
Yeah.
And like, what an impressive, like, yeah, I'm just going to take a chance on myself and do this. You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, I just, you know, like, I think what really taught me that was growing up in punk and in DIY. Because when I first started making country, when I started writing for what would become Pony, my first album,
yeah.
I wasn't from this world of the music industry at all. Even though I had worked as a drummer and whatever, it's just a very different type of like industry, you know,
Right.
when you're like in that world. So I wasn't approaching it like, okay, I'm going to like
Yeah.
get a manager and I'm going to be on a major label. Like I didn't think about any of that. I really just approached it the only way I knew how, which was like creatively, honestly, and kind of making it up as I go along. And I feel like I still do that to some extent. I mean, this year is a great example of that. Like I've kind of just like, I've gone back to acting and dived into all these things that seemingly seem sort of like offshoots or whatever, but I'm kind of just still making it up as I go along. I have no master plan at all.
I mean, I love that. I think that's also like sometimes when the best work emerges, you know, like you can't always force it, and distance from the thing, I think, reminds you why you're inspired from the thing in the first place. Like pursuing acting to then remember like, yeah, I'm a good singer. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And, you know, I think you nailed it. It's like, you know, there's been times in my career where I think I've definitely become far too aware of like self-aware of kind of like an audience or like an expectation or the industry, whatever that might be. And like, it's never like that thinking has never led me in the right direction. It's always been when I go back to just like, what do I want to do creatively? That always seems to like work best.
Interesting. So when you're developing, you know, this idea of like what you want your artistry to be, what this Orville Peck is going to be, like, when does this idea of the mask come in and the aestheticism of the cowboy?
I mean, it came right away. I just, I knew that I wanted to create something that I felt like I didn't see within country as a genre that I wanted to see, which was, you know, I always kind of say it was like, I kind of wanted to like envision this like David Bowie of country or something, where it was authentic and hopefully good songwriting, but it was like also presented in this way that felt artistic and creative and theatrical, honestly, you know,
and very cinematic too. That's like something, especially from Appolossa, that I got. Like it's so cinematic.
Yeah, thank you.
Even like the Cabaret, you know, cover, which we'll talk about later on in the episode, but like you feel the elements of like of a theater background. And again, like creating this mask, whether that's like the Lone Ranger to like a Phantom of the Opera type, you know what I mean? Like that sort of masked hero character, I think is really, really cool. And something I'm really interested about too is like, I think this idea of like a symbol of the fandom is something that's so cool. Like something I've talked a lot about on this show is I feel like the hallmark of when you know like a real artist has like real fans is when everybody is dressing up to their show.
Right.
Yeah. Like you can just tell, right? Or like somebody, like I could walk in a room and be like, I'm going to a concert tonight. And if I'm wearing a mask of the Fringe, you would not even ask who I'm seeing.
Right.
Right. Like, and was that sort of like an intentional decision?
Not at all. I mean, you know, I didn't know, I truly didn't even know if like anyone would care about my music when I first started writing it, you know? And so like the fandom that's grown around that, and yeah, specifically, I think these sort of, the mask removed even from me just as like a symbol or whatever, you know, people are really protective over it. And when I change it up, like there's a lot of sensitivities to navigate of what people kind of like it to look like or like it to be. But yeah, I mean, how cool to have like, you know, a group of like people who love what I do so much and value something I created so much because they feel like it's personal to them. I mean, that's kind of I think that for me is like the highest success you can do with art is if people are invested in something you do personally.
Yeah, and to the point where they like embody it themselves.
Yeah,
like
for
I think that's
sure.
like the final frontier of this thing didn't just like inspire an emotion, but then that emotion drove an action.
Yeah.
of like a random person who you'll never meet is the beauty of art.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
But I saw that you dressed up as yourself for Halloween,
Yes.
and somebody insulted you saying you had a bad Orville Peck costume.
They did, but I kind of live for it, honestly.
I was gonna say, is there anything you'd like to say to that person out there?
I love it. I think that's cool because I think that, I will be honest, I didn't make much of an effort in my outfit. I was just really wearing my mask and my hat. So like, you're not wrong, girl. It was kind of shit, but.
But little did you know.
Little did you know.
Little did you know.
It was cool. Like, it's the second time I've been in this situation over a Halloween that I've been dressed as myself and people have thought I'm in costume as me. And so, yeah, I was in New York for Halloween and like, my boyfriend and I didn't have like set outfits. And I was like, why don't we just go as me? Like we'll both wear masks, we'll both wear hats. And that way, if there's two of us, it'll offset people even more that it's not me. And it was really cool, because like I get to have all these interactions where like almost entirely for the most part, people are like super excited about me dressed as me, but they don't know it's me.
Right. And talking about your music and like getting to experience.
Like people being like, oh my God, I love Orville Peck.
You fuck with me.
Yeah. And it's so funny because like they're also being so they're being so unguarded because they don't know it's me either. So I'm just getting their like really like vulnerable kind of like low key interaction. It's really cool.
You're like, actually, can I play you a few demos?
Exactly.
Tell me what you think of this. And
a few people came up and talked to me and like in the night, and then it started to dawn on them that it was me, and you just see like everything change. You know what I mean?
So funny. And it's crazy because like you have tattoos. Like that. I feel like would be the thing that would give it away for me.
For sure. But I think it's just like I think it's my new move. I think I'm gonna go out every Halloween. Like they say Halloween's when the dead can like walk among the living. Like that's literally what I was able to do.
That's right. That's right. You're one day a year where you get to wake up like
literally,
this.
Yeah.
That's so funny. I really want to get into some of the collaborations you've done because the list is crazy.
I know it is really actually.
And also interesting that like, going from your last project to this project is like full collaboration project on every song to this, which is a lot more solo, only one feature. But I think I'm just going to list off a few names, and I just want to hear like your take and like experience on working with them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, first I have to say like you did a gay cowboy song with Willie Nelson, who's so 92.
Crazy. It's so crazy.
It's the coolest thing ever.
It really is. I don't know if I'll ever come to terms with like fully sort of having that sink in. But yeah, I think that's probably the highlight of my career so far for sure. It was so like, I spent so many years in my career, like sort of unknowingly, desperately trying to like validate my place in country. Yeah. Even though like I thought I was someone that didn't care about that. I think I did, obviously, like we all do. And trying to sort of like constantly pitch my case or plead my case about why I was country and why I make country and why I deserve to be in country. And then I think, when Willie Nelson asks you to do a song with him and it's a gay cowboy song, that sort of insecurity or like maybe like slight ego or whatever it was that was sort of like fueling that for me, like it just goes away because at that point, it's like I don't need anyone's cosign.
Yeah, what better could there be?
I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh no, a country radio station isn't playing this, but like Willie Nelson is. So
I'm like, it doesn't. No one's opinion matters about that anymore. Yeah. It's like really put to bed for me.
And that something that you just said reminded me of a lyric from your first album where you're talking about tired of begging them just to compete.
Yeah,
and what. Country as a genre has been radicalized a lot over the years. Mm-hmm. How was like stepping into that?
Well, stepping into it was easy because, like I said, I have spent almost all my life kind of like militantly believing that I can do anything and belong anywhere, and I'm not going to be told otherwise. And
Hell yeah.
especially if someone's telling me otherwise, then I'm like, well, now I want to do it better than everyone, and I want to like, you know what I mean? Like,
Absolutely.
I have that fire in me. Like, I always just have. It's like, I don't know. It's like petty to some level, even, you know.
I don't think it's petty. I think it's a desire to prove them wrong. Also, because you know there's someone else like you who feels the same.
Absolutely. I mean, you know, it's funny. Like, I don't get like blood boiling angry very easily at all. But I will tell you, the one thing that really makes me like see red in my life is witnessing unfairness, like, or someone being left out.
Yeah.
That really bothers me. And whether that's me, and probably because I felt left out a lot growing up, but like, especially if I see anyone else being excluded or being sort of like marginalized for something, it makes me, it's like the one thing that kind of makes me feel crazy. So like, I think there's part of that as well, to just sort of like get ahead of that by like announcing like, I'm here whether you like it or not. You know what I mean? Like, but so getting into it was easy. That was the easy part. And then I think, yeah, I sort of campaigned for a long time about, you know, my sort of right to be there, which I'm happy I did, because I think I can look back now and see just objectively and quite proudly that I think I did help open some pathways in country that I think some people maybe didn't think they had a place for before. And then obviously that's been now happening with a lot of people, and we're sort of like chipping away at the damn wall.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, I've recently sort of decided that that's not my the battle of trying to convince anyone that you belong somewhere. I think it's stronger just to go in there and belong and do you, and focus on your art and who you are, and exist and be visible and be seen, rather than like, you know, spend the majority of my time trying to convince people that I belong there. It's like, you know, I would rather just belong and prove them wrong by doing that.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean, you cannot change somebody's mind who doesn't want to be changed.
No.
And it's not your job to try and convince them why you should be in the room. It's your job to create the art that is worthy of being
exactly.
in that room.
And then it's like, you know, you already belong there, truly.
Yeah.
And if someone else doesn't see that or know that, it's actually on them. You know what I mean? So
Yeah. And I mean, I like talking about, you know, like this gateway thing. Like, I really feel like that's what happened with like Cowboy Carter and to Shabuzi. You know what I mean? Like that, we're seeing how like that actually creates real ripple effects.
100%. And it's like, you know, at some point it's like, this isn't my job to educate you. Like, unfortunately, like it's hard enough trying to like,
and you're doing a disservice to yourself.
Totally. You're the only one suffering in that scenario.
You are
like,
just not liking things you could like.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that's the much sadder existence.
Yeah,
you
no,
know
like
what I mean?
the visibility of diversity in country is at the forefront of my mind, but I don't spend the energy trying to convince people who don't want to be convinced of it.
Yeah, that's awesome. And like, speaking of an artist who I think is really, you know, like use their platform and legacy eternally to like champion new people, is Elton John.
Yeah.
What was it like working with him?
The best. I mean, he's so funny. He's so witty and playful. Like, you know, everything is just like a funny joke. Like, you know, he cracks me up, and he is like, you know, he was such a staple in my life growing up. I mean, Elton John was just like, both my parents loved Elton John. I feel like he was just always being played in my house. Like, so that to me is just like the fact that I know that person. I've gotten to work with them. I've gotten to know them, and like, you know his family. Like, they're just, he's amazing.
And he's just like the coolest person ever.
Yeah.
Like, he's like 78 and he's like doing a podcast.
Yeah, he's amazing.
On Apple Music with like Lola Young talking about new music. I'm like,
he's living his best life, and he deserves
he
it.
just loves me. Like, I've never seen anybody where you can just tell that they love the art form so much and have just dedicated their entire life to it, and even reaching the pinnacle of that success. I'm like, okay, now it's my turn to use this to like platform people that I just am interested in and I think are talented.
Yeah, it's the best thing.
It's so cool. And it very, like, I think about, I'm like, one day in my career, like, how do I find my own version to do something like that? You know what I mean? And I want to take a complete different direction. And something that I've like found very interesting about like, you know, your collaborations in the past is the way you kind of like make other people do country.
Right.
Which is like Diplo and Kylie Minogue. Like we got to talk about Midnight Ride.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's a perfect example, you know, with Stampede, which is my album that has all the collabs on it. You know, I knew what I wanted. I didn't want it to just be an album of Orville Peck songs with people featured on it. I wanted to have each song be like a 50-50 blend of like me and the other artist.
Right.
And so that's why every song is like sort of a departure from my usual music and also sort of its own thing entirely. The Kylie one, like, you know, obviously when I hit up Kylie and asked if she wanted to do it, I was like, you know, I want to make like a country disco song because I was like, what would be, you know, the love child of like me and Kylie.
Right.
And so, you know, she was on board right away. And like, you know, Kylie has a country album, actually. She's a country girl. She loves country. And so she was like immediately down. And yeah, so that's kind of how that evolved. And all the songs on Stampede were kind of out of that sort of way of thinking.
I think that's so cool. Also, it's like, this is what I do. What is your artistic interpretation of me?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And to like get that feedback is fascinating.
I just think it's a cool way. It's a cooler way to truly collaborate rather than, like I said, just be like 12 Orville Peck songs with like someone else singing like a verse or whatever.
Totally.
There's no shade if that's what people do, but it wasn't for me. You know what I mean?
Or like, I think remix albums in general or stuff. Like the Charlie album was incredible. And like, yes, you have Bonnie Bear, but also Julian Casablancas, but also Shy Girl. You know, like it's like creating this cinematic universe that you get to be the epicenter of, and you know what I mean, like you can see the degree of relation to you, but also like Kylie Minogue to Willie Nelson is crazy. You know what I mean? Like that is cool.
I know all those people in one room is like the craziest thing to think about.
That's awesome. And then I really want to talk about, you know, like one of your most frequent collaborators, Noah Cyrus.
Oh, yes, my sister.
I mean, you want to talk about two voices good at harmonizing together.
Yeah, it's funny. Like, I think we realized that after the fact, but you know, like the thing with Noah is like, it's in my just like life experience, I think it's really rare when you meet someone that, you know, you kind of hear about people talking about like soulmates or kindred souls or whatever, kindred spirits. And like with Noah, it was just like, you know, we're from totally different sort of places, backgrounds, you know, we're different ages. Like there's a lot of things that we don't have in common. But like when I tell you that we just started to realize like this was like seeing a part of yourself, like we just connected in a way that just felt so familiar. Like I feel like I can't remember a time in my life that I didn't know Noah. Like I feel like she's just been in my life my whole life.
That's so beautiful.
I know it's really special. And like, you know, I think we've struggled with a lot of the same things of being like extremely sensitive people in this industry. We like the same kind of songwriting. We try to push ourselves to be vulnerable. We've experienced a lot of the same kind of hurt. So yeah, like, you know, collaborating with Noah, we've done 3 songs now together. And we joke, we're like, let's just keep writing songs together because we like.
You're 7 away from an album.
I mean, it's like, you know, it's like
you're getting there.
When it works, you know?
Yeah. So where did Achafalea we're getting into Appolossa now, your brand new EP. Where did the idea from that song come from?
Yeah, the Atchafalaya Basin is my favorite highway in America. It's like, it's in Louisiana, and it's when you're leaving New Orleans, and it's all over the bayou, and it's like just water everywhere.
Yeah.
I was leaving, so the thought behind the lyrics is I was heading to New York to do Cabaret, and I knew I was going to be away from home and my partner and my dog and my life for a long time, which I hadn't really done in a very long time. And I was like kind of frightened about it, especially like sober, like, you know, it felt like something that when I was in my 20s would have been the easiest thing in the world.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, I was nervous about it, you know? So that song is sort of about leaving the thing you love and traveling to go do something else you love, and sort of the experience of that. And Noah, you know, was dealing with a similar thing. And so I was like, hey, do you want to jump on this song and we can do it?
Yeah. God, situations like that are so crazy because it's damned if you do, damned if you don't, you know, like you love what you're leaving behind, but also, you know, you have to do this thing. And that's so beautiful. Like what a way to share that. Yeah. Turn that pain into art together is like,
it's one of my favorite songs on the EP. I love it. Yeah.
It's so beautiful. Also, I'm like, I cannot get over how you're like, yeah, that's my favorite highway in the Midwest. When you're like not like even from America, I'm like, yeah, I too, American born, have a favorite highway in the Midwest. Like,
yeah, no, it's in the South, but yes, sorry. But it's my favorite highway in all of America, to be honest. But yeah, I've seen a lot of highways in my day.
You know what I mean? I'm like, like that, like just your reference and love of like what is country music in America is so beautiful. And even cooler when you learn that like this is like not a love you were born into. You know what I mean? It's like an acquired taste over time. Like,
yeah. Well, I think it's also like, you know, it's part of my storytelling within country is like I got to explore a lot of this country in my early touring days. And like it, you know, a lot of that made everyone always jokes I sing about so many places in my songs. Like I'm always singing about like cities and states and stuff. But it's because that's a big part of my story. Like I was just like on the road for next year I will have been touring 20 years.
Whoa.
Yeah. So it's kind of wild.
That's really cool though. And again, it's beautiful.
And I'm only 20, which is insane.
Yeah, that's crazy. You just spawned.
I don't know how
on a tour bus. Yeah. Like in a video game, you literally just you were an avatar that you were created.
Yeah, exactly.
But speaking of Cabaret, you did a Cabaret cover on this album. Like that is so cool.
Yeah, it's always been my favorite song in the show. I've loved Cabaret since I was, I think, 13. I think I first saw the film. And I just always thought that song was so... funnily enough, it's like, it kind of feels like the same delicate combination of emotions to me as something like I Will Always Love You, where maybe this time, you know, like it's a song about hoping, obviously, like maybe this time this will be the relationship that will work, right?
Yeah.
But it's not just laid out as simple as that. It's like, it's hopeful, self-aware, self-deprecating, sad, like promising. It's got so many complex emotions in it, which is how it really is when we experience these things. Like it's never just like, you know, I'm sad, this is a sad song. And it kind of reminds me of I Will Always Love You in the sense that that's a song about, and also a song about leaving something you love so much that you don't want to leave, but you have to leave. That's a more realistic story to relate to than just I'm sad because I'm leaving a relationship. It's not as easy as that, you know?
Right. And I've always felt this way about maybe this time, and I don't know if that was like the intention of it, but like it feels very much like a queer song.
Yeah, it definitely has like queer ache in it.
And that like hearing you do it, I think was so cool for that reason of like, you know, like maybe this time what he's talking about is a man that will actually love me the way I love him.
Yeah, absolutely.
And like whether that is, I don't, you know, like due to the themes of the play, that's not like actually what I think it's about, but such a beautiful interpretation of it.
But I think that makes sense because, you know, the character of Sally Bowles she is such a unique and I think misunderstood person. And I think when you feel sort of othered or unique or kind of on your own path, I think those are very similar feelings of like lack in your life of the things that you wish were just normal and easy. So yeah, I think it definitely feels like a queer coded song. And also the lyrics are so country to me. It just feels like it feels like a Patsy Cline song to me, you know?
Right. And
so it felt like the easiest transition just to turn it into sort of like, I wanted it to sound kind of like this campfire torch song, you know?
Right. And Cabaret also like as a production is like a very political.
Yeah.
You know, it's about the rise of fascism.
For sure.
Which is like cool that you were able to use art in this political way in like both ways.
Oh
honestly.
my God. Yeah. Well, and doing the show in the time we're living in, it was like, you know, it was very kind of obvious and apparent to all of us and everyone in the audience that like, you know, we're doing a show set in pre-World War II Berlin, but nothing anyone's saying on stage sounds out of place from where we're living and what we're doing right now, which is the craziest thing. But yeah.
Do you think art is like an important tool for creating those sort of change in people's mind?
Yeah, I think it's the most important tool. I mean, at least it was for me. Like, you know, I think the thing that art can do that maybe a political speech might not necessarily do is like it relays something to the listener through emotion that they can then connect to and be like, oh, I understand that because like I've experienced that in my own way, or I can empathize with that hearing it laid out like this and broken down in this emotional way. I think art can sometimes move people to understanding more than anything. I mean, you know, even like a film, I can think of so many films that have like moved me so much that they've changed the way I think about something or awoken something in me that I never thought of before. You know, I think art is intrinsic for that.
Oh my God. And even like the most basic examples like Star Wars. I'm like, Star Wars is about imperialism. You know what I mean? Great art is always political.
1,000%.
And I think also it's very disarming in that way too. You know, if you're like what you said, comparing, you know, a song to a political speech. Like if I'm like, hey person, do you want to watch blank speech by blank politician? Like, no is the answer, right? I'm like, hey, can you want to check out this new song? Yes is always the answer.
Yeah, because it's, you know, art is doesn't alienate, or it shouldn't. It should connect to anybody in any circumstance.
Yeah. Well, speaking a bit of alienation, I want to hear the story about My Side of the Mountain.
Yeah, that's a song about letting go of someone. And you know, it was for my personal story, it was about temporarily separating and letting go of someone that I love very much. And we both knew we had to do that, even though we didn't want to, at least for a period of time. And so it's sort of about learning to make that decision for yourself, even when it's the hardest thing to do. And the mountain, My Side of the Mountain reference is like, you know, for my personal story, the person lived just one canyon over from me. So I would lay in bed at night knowing that this person I missed so badly was like not even a 10-minute drive away from me on the other side of the mountain.
You're such a cowboy. What do you mean? He lived one canyon over. Like, what are you talking about? Like, not a townhouse, not a cul-de-sac.
Hell no, bitch.
A canyon. Just a casual canyon over.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So that's what that song is about. And yeah.
But very, very beautiful. I mean, like, I don't know. I think about that kind of thing a lot with moving here. Like, I moved from the East Coast, and that's my side of the mountain, or you know, my mom's side of the mountain, or you know, like I don't know. I just think as like you make all these decisions in life that you know you have to do, like pursuing art or moving to Canada, London, but also there's this opportunity cost of like leaving the people that you love.
Yeah, and I think it's like, you know, the one line in the hook is carve a little life out and call it My Side of the Mountain. I think for me, it's like I spend so much time in my life trying to make other people comfortable and happy in my life, and kind of not ever thinking about what I needed or wanted, and exhausting myself by that. And so that song is also sort of about finally making the decision to, carve out a little bit of happiness for myself. And whether that meant losing things along the way, that was what I had to do.
Yeah. You can't people please your way into personal happiness.
No, it's a never-ending pit, because you're offering yourself up without any guarantee that you're ever going to get that in return or whatever. And you probably shouldn't be offering yourself up if you're doing it for something in return.
So is Drift Away kind of about that same situation then?
Drift Away is actually more about it's about growing up in a sleepy kind of town where there's nothing going on. And, you know, it's a throwback to this nostalgic part of my life when I was a teenager. I'd moved to Canada. I was living in Vancouver, which is sort of like, you know, it's a city, but it's got a very small town feel to it. And there's not a ton going on, especially for, you know, teenagers. And we were all from like, you know, broke families and whatever. So we had to just like make our own fun. And that's kind of what that song is about. It's an ode to the creativity that you have to sort of manifest when you're like a weirdo kid in a small town.
But again, like that's where something like Orville Peck stems from.
Talk to any like incredible drag queen. They're a weirdo kid from a small ass town. Like that is what that fosters, because you have to just like create that stuff.
And it's something about like you have to have this like ruthless sense of self-belief, right? Like if every single person in your high school called you a weirdo, but you were like loving that artistic thing so much that you continue to dedicate your life in it, like that is a level of, I think, confidence and self-determination that just builds the foundation for like the work ethic required to be an artist.
Yeah, it is really, it's like the breeding ground for an artist, because you are forced to believe and be passionate about what you make for yourself because no one else is giving you that.
Yeah. Something else I was really like thinking about when listening to this EP, like literally like first 3 seconds is just like how cinematic your music feels. Like everything like I literally feel like we're about to like be in a duel. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and I was like, have you ever thought about like writing for film?
I have. And you know, I'm always like kind of writing and creating little things that may or may not come to fruition. But yeah, I mean, I've always said like I didn't grow up. I've always played instruments, but like I don't know like theory or technical stuff. I mean, I know more now from being in, you know.
That's crazy because you're like a ridiculous vocalist.
Well, yeah, like I don't know how to read music. I don't know like how half the time I don't know what I'm playing on the guitar. Like all my band laugh at me because I'll be playing something and my fingering is totally like different than what you're supposed to be doing.
That's
but like,
crazy.
Because I just taught myself, you know what I mean? Like I didn't have lessons or anything like that really.
Yeah.
I mean, and so I think I naturally and instinctively have always approached music from like a visual place. And so, you know, I loved music videos growing up so much. And that's why I always loved to like put a lot of effort into music videos because for me, when I'm listening to music, I'm picturing the whole like fantasy.
Oh, me too. Me too.
Like,
or I have had songs where I like was like about them and I saw the music video and I said, this is the best song I've ever heard in my life.
Because if you can connect that sort of like scene in your mind, I mean, that is essentially what cinematic means, I suppose. But like, if you can create not just like a song that people enjoy listening to, but if you can make them feel a whole world that they're escaping into, I mean, that's like the real fun shit for me, at least.
And I think that's like world building is the quintessential thing of any artist, especially now. You know, when we're talking about like something I've talked about a lot on the show is that I feel like music is a visual medium now. You know, like we used to hear a song on the radio for the first time, and that was like the discovery point. And now it's like you're scrolling on TikTok, you're watching a music video, you see a friend share it on their Instagram story with something, whatever that thing is, like there's now perpetually this idea of an image tied to a song, right? And that is so important, I think, to making people understand the thing.
Yeah, and to me, it's like, you know, it doesn't even feel like a challenge in the sense that I think for me, it's sometimes easier to get the full story across when there's like a video attached to it because it helps, you know, tell even more of the story of what I'm getting at or what I'm trying to evoke other people feeling or, you know, like whatever that might be. So yeah, I've always loved like the visuals and I mean, obviously, but like to me, it's just hand in hand. Like all of it is like one piece of this greater thing that has to go together.
I think of it like chapters of a story.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
For sure.
What is your favorite music video of all time?
I don't think
this is a loaded
asked
question.
Me that. No, it's, I mean, one that comes to mind immediately. I don't know if I can like officially say it's my favorite, but the first one that comes to mind is Smashing Pumpkins 1979. Where
great choice.
They, you know, it is like it felt like escaping into that song when you watch that video. And, you know, I mean, that's a song as well that like there's just so much nostalgia and like I love that video I think the 90s alternative era had some of the best, you know, amazing music videos. Those are the ones that definitely pop up for me and come to mind. But yeah, that's always been just like a benchmark staple for me is that video.
That's a great video. Mine is Hold Up by Beyonce.
Oh my God, yeah. Amazing.
When she opens that door and the water comes down.
So good.
It's so good.
Yeah.
It's like one of those like things and people are like, I remember when 9/11 happened, when Michael Jackson died, the Bye Sister video and Hold Up by Beyonce. Like so those are the things that are like live in my mind rent free.
Yeah. It's sad because I think there's like obviously less effort and focus put on music videos now because I think they obviously don't have the kind of like, music videos in the 90s, that like Soldier record. It was crazy. It was
Yeah.
so, MTV and VH1, like that was what it was. But I still like, probably, I guess, maybe foolishly for some people, but for me, it's like I still put as much effort as I can into music videos because I love that combination of those two mediums. I think it's my favorite thing.
Totally. I agree. I think music videos have never been more important. But I think it's like interesting. The era of music we're in now is like prior to that, there was one like visual of music, right? You had one music video and that went on MTV and like it was played all the time. Whereas now it's like there's so many different visual interpretations of music.
Well,
right?
even other people's, right? Like setting your music to something they're creating.
Yeah,
like that's
exactly.
like,
you see what happens on TikTok and like some random thing becomes a trend or even just like artists like still making videos about their music, but it's like shot vertically. You know what I mean? Like I think that sort of change in medium of video is like something that all like the music industry hasn't like figured out how to navigate fully yet, right?
Yeah. Well, it's sort of allowed people to kind of soundtrack their lives in a way that we can all witness, which is also cool in a way, actually, like, I mean, even just putting a song to like, I don't know, your like cooking video or whatever, like you're combining several mediums there, which is like, I think that's cool.
Right. I imagine it's somebody like, they're like a van life creator. They're outside a canyon.
Yeah.
And they're having like a steak and like eggs and you know what I mean? And they're doing an Orville Peck song.
I can see that.
That's
I also
the
want
vibe.
to see the complete opposite of someone just doing like the most foul mukbang to like one of my like saddest songs.
Yeah,
I want to see the contrast here.
Get like 300 nugget challenge. And
to let me drown. And they're just like, I want to see that. I want to see that too.
There we go. And you know what? Maybe you partake in that.
Well, I'm a kind of I'm a bit of a chaos agent in some ways. So I want to see a little bit of that.
2 final questions I have. Or actually 3 final questions I have for you. One, we got to say, you're in a Street Fighter movie.
Yeah.
How did that happen?
They asked me. It's crazy.
But, like, did you play the game? Did you want to be this character?
The game, but they didn't know that. I played the game a ton growing up. I have 2 older brothers, and we played like, Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter and all that stuff growing up. And I always played as this character Vega, and so the people from Legendary came to see me in Cabaret, and then I had a meeting and they just like offered it to me. And I was like gobsmacked because in 1 year I manifested my dream role on Broadway, my favorite role from a video game when I was a kid in the movie. So
that's crazy.
It is really nuts.
No, you're a Renaissance man. I told you this at the
start.
Or
a witch. I don't know. Are we gonna burn me or something?
No, literally, there's a sigil. Yeah. That's what the mask is hiding.
We should like see if I float, if there's a bathtub here. Or something.
No, that's right. We're gonna do, or when you drown, they put you in the water
exactly.
and they see if you.
But no, it was like what a crazy year for that. It's I don't even know if the word's lucky, but because that sounds like maybe it's like totally up to something else. I think, there's a lot of me focusing for many years to try and do these kind of things, but I do feel like super grateful that this year I got to do some things that were life-changing and dreams, like just total
bucket list year.
Yeah. And then as well, still able to like, make music and put out some music. I'm proud of my year.
No, that's impressive. There's a lot going on.
Yeah, for sure.
A lot going on. Okay. And then my second to last question, I got to ask, speaking of manifestation, this is me trying to manifest. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So you did a song with Trixie Mattel.
Yep.
Jackson. Would you do a song with Brittany Broski?
Yeah. I mean, Brittany sent me her music years ago when she was first starting to work on it, and I was so like gobsmacked that I was like, where has this voice been?
Just casually a crazy vocalist.
Like I was like floored. And so yeah, of course I'd love to sing with Brittany. I mean, like, there's nothing more I like than making music with or creating with friends. Like that's the best thing. Yeah, of course. Brittany's so talented.
She's so talented.
People don't even know, like, truly, people don't even realize yet. Like, her voice is nuts.
But even beyond the voice, like I saw, if you watch any of her YouTube videos about like art history, when she ran it, they are so interesting.
Yeah.
Like she has like such like a brain in the way she like comprehends art and thinks about the symbolism of things that make you would make such an incredible artist. Please release an album.
Well, because her humor is the way she disarms her people and like confronts the world. But like she is incredibly deep and talented and soulful, and like Brittany's amazing.
Yeah. Okay, so my last question, I always like to end the show with this one. If you were to pick one song off this project that you really want people to like listen to and like sit with, you know, read the lyrics and like think about the meaning, what is that song and why?
I think, I think it would be either My Side of the Mountain, which I've talked a little about, or maybe Oh My Days. Oh My Days is the first love song I've ever written because all my songs are about like heartbreak, but Oh My Days is the first time I wrote a song about falling in love with someone. And I'd come out of this terrible era, like my Bronco era, what Bronco's all about this like awful relationship and how hurt I was. And this is the first person I fell in love with out of that. And it's, again, it's not just a simple love song. It's about like, running towards someone, even though like every fiber of your heart and your mind and everything else is telling you not to do it because it's so afraid.
Yeah.
And so there's like, what I would hope is like some complexity in that song that I think people could probably relate to because it feels like something I know a lot of people go through. It's like, learning how to like trust again.
Do you regret running to that person?
No, I'm still with them.
Really?
Yeah.
That's so beautiful. Yeah. I couldn't think of a better way to end. Yep. Like that is good. Orville, thank you so much for coming on, dude.
Thank you.
Have been looking forward to this all week. You have no idea.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
So I'm honored that you sit down with me and everybody go stream Appaloosa. What are you doing? I'm going to hope that you've already done it by now, but the link is in the description and Orville, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.